My research has really focused on the difference between compassion-based coaching versus compliance-based coaching. And a lot of the data is coming out of Case Western Reserve University, Weatherhead School of Business, under Dr. Richard Boyatzis. And they've been doing some really neat work where they're trying different approaches to coaching. So when I talk about compassion-based coaching, although compassion is sort of a warm and fuzzy kind of a word, it simply means that as the coach, we are triggering and focused on the coachee or the employee's hopes and dreams and visions, where when we're taking a compliance approach, yes, we're focused on problems, what might be going wrong, the organization's goals, and what tasks that they need to focus on. And so by playing or using those different approaches, we're going to trigger a different response with the participant, and also there's different things happening in the brain, which is pretty fascinating. And again, not a neuroscientist by any means, just a coach who's fascinated with what's going on in our heads. Want to certainly be clear about that, but Dr. Boyatzis, along with Dr. Jack, who's a cognitive behavioral scientist, PhD, at Case Western, are doing research where they're having students have experiences being coached or counseled in a way that triggers the positive emotional attractor through a compassion-based coaching approach focused on dreams, vision, and what's going on in their brain. So the visual cortex is much more active during that point, during fMRIs. When they do the research and they use a compliance-based coaching process, different parts of the brain are lighting up, and what they're finding is the part of the brain that's tied to long-term learning doesn't really have that many flashes or that much activity. Again, we're fairly new in the research, especially with the fMRIs, probably in the past 7 or 8 years. But the fact that we can see that difference in an fMRI helps to really bring some science to the psychological approaches of coaching. In closing, I think it's important to prompt creativity and help support an environment for creativity. The more we can use compassion-based coaching, trigger the positive emotional attractor, the parasympathetic nervous system, the better off we're going to be, because when people are in that place focused on the positive parts of life, they're more likely to take risks, they're more willing to experiment, they're more willing to test things and give it a try, as opposed to the compliance-based coaching, which builds defensiveness, and people shut down, it feels less safe, and they're less willing to try new things. So the more we want to prompt creativity, the more we need to look at these approaches for coaching, where obviously we need some negative attractor because we want things to get done, but how we support that with the positive approach or the compassion-based approach is very important.